Okay, in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to model a alloy wheel hub, 5-spoke alloy wheel hub. Now this wheel is based on a scooter wheel, okay, from a scooter that I used to own. Okay, so this is an approximation of the wheel that I'm trying to model. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, now there are a number of things that you need to install. Okay, so make sure that you turn on your add-ons for loop tools. Okay, make sure loop tools is enabled. And also I'll be using some materials that is from Cycles. I'm using Cycles renderer. And I have this PBR materials installed. Okay, so if you don't know where PBR material is, you can find it here. Okay, PBR. Okay, let me just use Google search. Okay, so this is where you find it. It's at this website, okay, 3dwolf.com, and you download version 3.1. Okay, take note that you must download 3.1 because 3.2 is only for 2.8. So that is the add-on that I'm using for this tutorial. So to start off, first I'm going to get rid of the default cube. Then I'm going to create a 30-sided cylinder. So create a cylinder that has 30 sides. Now I've already calculated that I need about a 30-sided cylinder to create the alloy wheel hub. And for the cat fill type, I'm going to use a triangular fan. Okay, and then if you go to edit mode, this is what you'll see. So I'm going to scale this cylinder down along the z-axis. So press SZ and then scale it down. And if you view it from the top view, I'm going to press 5 to go to top orthographic. You'll notice that you have one edge line that lines up nicely with the y-axis. So this is the orientation that you want. So we'll start off with this orientation, and we'll begin by getting rid of the majority of the faces. So I'm going to go to face mode, and then I'm going to press A to deselect. Then I'm going to select these faces. Okay, so which faces are you going to select? Okay, so starting from the 12 o'clock position, you're going to select down until to about 1 o'clock position. You're going to select all together 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 of these faces. And then you're going to press this combination, Control I to go to invert, and press X to delete away the faces until you're left with this sort of a pie segment. Okay, I'm going to insert one edge loop here, Control R, then left mouse click to insert one edge loop here, and then I'm going to apply a mirror modifier. So go to click on the properties here, the modifier properties here, and add a mirror modifier. Now if you're in the correct orientation as you don't have to do much. You just need to turn on clipping so that the centers will stick together. And then next we want to recreate the cylinder again. Okay, the reason why we are doing this is so that we just need to create one single spoke, and then we'll have the array modifier repeat the modeling process for us. So we're going to create first an empty. First you have to go up to object mode first, so press Shift A and go to create an empty. Now at all times make sure that your cursor is in the center, because if your cursor is out in the center, okay, if you accidentally press left mouse click and if it's outside, you will not be able to get this to work. So make sure the cursor is at the center, so you can fix it by pressing Shift C. Right, so press Shift C to bring the cursor back into place. So now we have our empty. This empty is for us to manipulate the duplicates in the array. So select the original object mesh, then go and apply an array. Okay, now you will see a second piece appear straight away. Now we do not want this piece. we are going to uncheck this relative offset, and we're going to create 5 spokes. So we're going to create 5 pieces, and then including the original, and we're going to use object offset. So click on this checkbox and then use the eyedropper to pick the empty. Now once you select the empty, which you can also access by clicking on this cube here to select empty, you'll notice that nothing has happened even though we wanted to create 5 copies. That is because we need to select the empty, then press R followed by Z, and then you can see the duplicates will appear. Now 360 degrees divided by 5 is 72 degrees, so we need to rotate the empty along the Z-axis 72 degrees. So press R followed by Z, then press 72. So we recreated our cylinder again. Okay, but now watch this. This time, right, when we edit one piece here, for example, if I extrude, you can see the rest will follow. Okay, so let me just undo that for a moment. And now we have to figure out how do we create the spoke. Now we have 3-sided faces here, so it's very difficult for us to edit to create the visible spokes. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert one edge loop across here, but rather than insert edge loop, because we can't insert edge loop across 3-sided faces, so we can use a knife tool to middle cut these 3-sided faces. So press K, holding down the Control, left mouse click, and then left mouse click to the next edge, left mouse click, and press Enter. We're going to do the same for the face at the bottom. Press K, holding down the Control. Now some of you might wonder, why don't I use another mirror operation to create the bottom? Now you can do that as well, but what I want to create is a wheel with a specific design. Okay, so now we are ready to insert the edge loop along here. So Control R, because now these are 4-sided, we can insert edge loop, and then left mouse click, move the edge loop all the way to the end, holding down the Control, and then let it snap down 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then go to the bottom, do the same thing, Control R, insert edge loop, left mouse click and slide and move the cursor all the way to the end, holding down the Control, snap down 1, 2, 3, and then left mouse click to plant the edge loop. Okay, so now we can start to create our spokes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this face, and I'm going to press X to delete it away. Select the bottom face, right mouse click to select it, and press X to delete away the faces. So now I have a simple 5-spoke wheel. Now obviously the spokes are a little bit too thick for my liking. So with the cursor in the center, I'm going to use the pivot point to reference to the cursor center, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these faces or vertices that form the outer edge here, and then pull it out. Okay, so now before I do that, let me just fix the edges here, select the opposing edges of these this wheel here, and then press F. Okay, press F, or you can use the bridging tool. Okay, I'm going to select multiple, and then let's see if I press F, anything happens. Okay, now it create a single face. This is not what I want. I'm going to undo. So I want to use the bridging tool, W, loop tools, and bridge, and that works. Okay, so I have 2 faces, and it has joined nicely. So now I have this created. I'm going to press Z to go to wireframe mode, and then I'm going to go to edit mode first, and then press Control Tab, go to vertex selection mode. Now I'm going to select only these group of vertices here, okay, not these ones. So I'm going to press A to deselect again, a couple times to deselect, holding down to Control and then left mouse click and drag to create a lasso of the outer edges. And then I'm going to press Shift C, make sure the cursor is at the center, and I'm now at the pivot point of the 3D cursor. Now I'm going to use non-uniform scale, so I'm going to press S followed by Shift Z to scale it up. Now why do I need to press Shift Z? Now if I do not press Shift Z, okay, this is what's going to happen. If I don't press Shift Z and just simply press S, okay, the edges are just going to become thicker and thicker and thicker like that. Okay, so this is not what I want. So Control Z, Control Z. So if you press Shift S, okay, Shift S, it will be, or S followed by Shift Z, it will just scale along the Y and the X axis, so keeping everything flat. Okay, so now my spokes are a little bit longer, but if I take a look at the picture, the reference I'm seeing, you notice that it starts off rather thick and then it tapers down slightly. So I want to recreate that. So I want this to start off thick, but then tapering to the center here. So now this time, I'm going to go to my top view again, press A to deselect. I'm going to turn on this button here, limit selection to visible, just turn it on so that the back vertices will be selected. Now I'm going to select these group of vertices, holding down the control, left mouse click and draw over the vertices. And then just simply press R to rotate inwards. And then I'm going to do the same for this vertex here. Press R to rotate. And then select these group of vertices. Now I do not want to select these top now, so I'm going to press A to deselect first, and then holding down control and select these vertices. And same thing, I can rotate and just make it look wider. Now notice now I've destroyed the look of the circular wheel. Okay, let me just do some adjustments a little bit more. Just rotate this a little bit more just to create that spoke. Okay, now I need a bit more edge loops here. I'm going to press Ctrl R, insert one edge loop here, right in the center, and then press S, Shift Z, non-uniform scale again, and just scale it ever so slightly to recover my circular shape. Now we can insert more edge loops. I'm going to insert a couple more edge loops here, then S, Shift Z, then this one, Alt right mouse click to select this edge loop, S, Shift Z, just to bring it up a little bit. So now I get my circular shape. Later we can use the loop tool circle operation to fix the circular shape, but now we can continue to model the wheel. Okay, and I'm going to press A to deselect. And right now we can select the outer faces, the edges here. Control right mouse click. Okay, I do not want to select this one, and I want to select these faces here as well. Shift Control right mouse click. Alright, and then I'm going to press E to extrude. Extrude, but right mouse click so that it jumps back. Then I'm going to use the operation Alt S, shrink flatten, to extrude it upwards. But take note, when you extrude upwards, you create all these internal faces which you need to select and delete away. Otherwise, when you join the edges together to the rest, okay, you will have a hidden face inside, which is not a good thing. Okay, alright, so now I don't need these outer faces anymore. Now I need to turn this button off temporarily because I do not want to see the faces behind. Now I don't really need these faces because these faces are going to be hidden. So to select, holding down the control, right mouse click, then select this face, holding down the control, right mouse click, and you just continuously select the loops continuously. I'm going to press X to delete away these faces. I don't need these faces. Now I'm going to select this edge, Shift right mouse click, select this edge, and then I'm going to use the scaling operation again. S followed by Shift Z to scale it up slightly, then S followed by Z to scale it outwards. Okay, one more time, S, Z, and then I have the wheel opening up like this. Okay, so now to give the wheel a little bit of character, I'm going to select the center portion of this wheel, these faces here, and then I'm just going to press G followed by Z to move it upwards slightly. We give it a little bit of character. Okay, and okay, it seems that I've accidentally selected another face at the bottom. Let me undo that. I do not mean to select this face. In fact, let's just select the bottom three faces and the top faces together so that we can move them all up slightly so that we have this shape. Okay, and now because the wheel that I have is actually hollow in the center, and also there is a slight feature over here, okay, that I want to just pull out. Just go to the top view here, G followed by X, just like that. Yeah, Okay, so now I have my wheel out. Now I want to create the hollow out section here. So to do that, I'm going to select these faces, and I'm going to press I to do an inset extrusion. Okay, then I'm going to get rid of this two faces, and then select these edges and move along the x-axis, G followed by X, until they touch the center. And because the two sides are mirrored, they're going to clip together. Then now I can select these faces and extrude it inwards. Okay, so when you extrude inwards, make sure you move them along the x-axis slightly. Okay, make sure you don't move it in so much that it will burst through the other side. So now I got a hollowed out section, and I'm pleased with it. So at this stage, I can apply a subdivision modifier. So I can press Ctrl 3 to see what it looks like. So don't panic when you see this pattern here, because later we're going to join them together and apply a remove doubles, and everything should stitch up nicely. Okay, so now I want to create another extrusion here. Okay, I'm going to select this face and just going to extrude ever so slightly, and also I'm going to use the knife tool. Okay, on second thought, let's see, should I extrude this? Okay, anyway, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to extrude the center portion after I join everything together. So let me just get out of this. Now I'm going to apply a smooth shading on this, and right now I can apply the mirror. I'm going to hit apply mirror first. So now I get two sections like that. Then I'm going to apply the array, and now everything is a single mesh. However, we need to fix the gaps. So fixing the gaps is very simple. Go to vertex mode, Control Tab, go to vertex mode, press A to select all the vertices, then press W and remove doubles. Then all the gaps should disappear. Okay, so now we have our wheel, but we have this nasty pinch look here. So to fix that, we need to select the central faces here. So press C to go to the brush selection tool, and then paint over the circular section. And all you need to do is just press E to extrude another section like that, and then press I, okay, to extrude inwards, so that you have four-sided faces which you can work on later. You can do the same for the back faces here. Press A to deselect, press C and paint select the faces at the bottom here. Okay, and then press E to extrude. E to extrude one small section, and then press I to extrude inwards, inset extrude. Okay, so that we have a smoother surface without that nasty pinching area. Okay, so now that we finished the wheel, okay, we are going to create the tire for it. Now to create the tire, you can start off by creating a curve. So I'm going to Shift A, I'm going to the front view first, press 1, Shift A, and then create a Bezier curve. And move the Bezier curve out here. Now the Bezier curve is facing the top, so I'm going to press R followed by X, then 90. So now I can see the profile of the curve. Then I'm going to press Tab. Then I'm going to grab one of the control handles and then put it inside here. Grab this control handle. I'm going to switch the pivot point back to median point so that I can rotate and move the curve right down here like this. Scale this up so that the profile is the same. Now select these two control handles, then press W. I'm going to subdivide it, so I got an extra vertex here which I can scale it up. I put it in the center, then scale it up so that I have the cross section of a tire. I'm going to change these vertices into 3 so that I can just bulge the tire out slightly like that. and then maybe this one make it a little bit narrower. Okay, so now I have a cross section of tire. I'm going to use this object's axis to use a screw modifier to create the tire. So select the curve, add a modifier, use a screw modifier, and the axis object reference is going to be this cylinder here. So when I click on it, you can see straight away I can see the wheel. Okay, but the wheel is still way too thick and there's not enough steps. I'm gonna put 32 steps. The render step, I'm going to put 32 as well in case you want to render it. Now obviously the wheel is way too big, so you can still go to the front view, go to edit, and I'm going to go to wireframe, and I'm just going to scale this down slightly. Select these handles and scale them up. Okay, so yeah, so now this is the wheel that is looking slightly better. Okay, so I'm happy with this. So let's say you're happy with the wheel, you want to convert this into a mesh. So select this wheel, press Alt C, mesh from curve object. So now this is now a mesh object, and I don't need this empty anymore. I can select empty and delete it away, and I'm gonna parent this wheel to this hub. So select the wheel first, shift select the hub, then press Ctrl P and to parent it to the object. Now I can rotate this wheel, rotate along the x-axis 90 degrees, and bring it up until the bottom of the wheel touches the, let's scale it down until it touches the ground, and then press Ctrl A and apply the scale. Shift C to move the cursor back to the origin, Shift A to create a ground plane. Okay, I'm in the cycles renderer, so I'm going to select the wheel hub and I'm going to apply a PBR material. I'm not going to update this because it's going to break this this add-on, because the new add-on is for 2.8. So I'm going to use a titanium wheel hub, and then for the tire I'm going to use a dielectric, and I'm going to apply a rubber. Yes. So now I'm going to adjust the light a little bit. I'm going to use nodes. I'm going to use a 2000 value and a slightly warm yellowish light. And I think the light, I should put it a little bit in front. Now I'm going to switch over to the camera view. Right mouse click to select the camera. You can move the camera like that, or another alternative is to enable lock camera view after pressing N in the viewport properties, and then you can reposition your camera just like a viewport. I'm going to scale the ground plane a little bit bigger, give it a standard diffuse, and also the environment. I'm going to click on the world tab. I'm going to use nodes, color. I'm going to use a sky texture and just bring it offset a little bit, and now I'm ready to render this. Just bring it a little bit closer and press Shift Z and see what it looks like. So this is the wheel that I have just created. Okay, so this is how you model a 5-spoke wheel. So using the array modifier and the mirror modifier, you can quickly model any sort of alloy wheel that you want. Okay, hopefully this tutorial is useful, and this could possibly be the last tutorial I'm doing on version 2.79. Although I said that for the last tutorial, the astronaut tutorial, but I think this will be the final one before version 2.8 comes out in April. So again, I hope you find this tutorial useful and hope you learned something today. Keep on blendering.